I'm a part-time resident.
Okay, could I have everybody please be seated? Please be seated, everybody. Somewhere. Thank you. We don't have to open this. do we?
Yeah,
Do we do?
I would
Open it?
technically open it because
Okay.
you have a quorum of the village
Oh,
board.
we do have a quorum and it was publicly noticed. Okay, I make a motion that we open the meeting.
Second.
We have a second. Roll call, please.
Trustee Marshall,
Aye.
trustee Wilkes.
Aye.
Trustee Cove, I know you were in.
Aye.
Trustee Limbeck still there? There, we found him. Mayor Plummer,
Aye.
motion passes.
Okay, even though this isn't really a public meeting the way we do our public meetings, this is a community discussion tonight about the Arboretum that we have in our village. I want to welcome everybody to the meeting. For those of you who don't know, I'm Mayor Plummer. And we also have all of our trustees here. You just heard from them as well. I'm going to not talk too much, actually, because this is really about listening to what you all are coming up with and what you have to say. But I do want to give a little bit of background and just kind of give a little bit of framework before we sort of have our breakout groups here for discussion. And if you see in your agenda, I did want to talk about the Arboretum in terms of what the mission is of the Arboretum. This is an 11-acre roughly parcel. It's the last remaining green space that is owned by our village. And for many decades, I think some of you know, is you had other uses there. But in 2021, it was reclaimed as an arboretum and a wildlife sanctuary. It's adjacent also, as many of you know, to the additional green space that's owned by the town, which is the Erie Canal Preserve. And they've done some nice work over there as well. The Arboretum also provides an opportunity for stewardship regarding management of our plant life and our wildlife habitats that are contained there in this parcel. So it's not only a place, I think, for anybody who is a resident of the village or the town visiting. It's not only a place for respite and connecting with the natural world, it's in the heart of our village. And it also creates opportunities for education and community projects. And so with that being said, I just want to briefly cover some of the projects and activities to date. We have our Friends of the Arboretum. I know many of you are here tonight. It's a community group that organized to support efforts in the Arboretum. And we thank them for diligently weeding for a number of years and helping us to remove some of the smaller invasives there, some brush, and do some clearing and putting in some trails. The Frog House is also represented here tonight. We did some wonderful projects. The Vernal Ponds project was absolutely amazing. I'm sure you're all familiar with that. I know many of you helped and supported that project and worked on that project. We look forward to the snow melting, so we can actually see what's going to go on in our ponds. And we've had enough snow this year. I think they're going to be full. So also the permaculture garden that you've done and some additional native plantings have just been wonderful. Yes, yeah, right there. So awesome work. Also the Scouts, I know they're maybe not be represented here tonight, but the Scouts have done some really great projects up in the Arboretum relative to signage, signage for the ponds, trail signs. We've had some bird boxes, bat boxes, native plantings, and that's ongoing because the Scouts are always approaching us, you know, with some projects that they want to do for badge work. They also helped in the Vernal Ponds project too. We had a lot of good volunteers, so that was really great.
100 volunteers.
Yeah. Tell me again. 100 volunteers. That's incredible. That is absolutely incredible. In terms of what the village has done directly, the village has planted well over 100 native trees in that parcel. Many of you know we have an ongoing eradication program for invasive species, most notably known as the, I don't know why they call it the tree of heaven. It's anything but. It goes in the opposite direction, exactly, yeah, or Atlantis trees. We also, as part of that, had, I think it was my first year in office, we had the Seneca Park Zoo Society, which does a lot of work around the globe, reestablishing sustainable habitats in a number of different continents. And they came in and did a survey of plant life there and habitats. And their conclusion was we have of all the species in there, 70% are invasive. Yeah, so we still have a lot of work to do. So the eradication program is ongoing and will be literally for many, 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 many years, as we all know. I know, I'm looking at some gardeners in the room and you know what that's all about. One thing I do want to say just about eradication isn't just simply removing an invasive species. You have to put something that's native in its place. Otherwise, what happens? They come back, exactly. So, it's kind of not a one and done. It's an ongoing program and we appreciate everybody's support in that. As you also know, our DPW has always sort of chimed in. They do the field mowing periodically. They'll take out brush, those kinds of things as well. So everybody kind of plays a part, and it's really nice that everybody in the community has really stepped up to help us with this. So with that being said, and Dave, I don't know if you want to chime in a little bit on a few things as well before we get into breakout sessions and what we're really looking for.
So I just wanted to add, I think, you know, it's an amazing space and connected to the town. It's wonderful to have that contiguous open green space and access. Friends of the Arboretum, Frog House, Boy Scouts, and others have just done a really remarkable job of creating a community-wide support group to move projects and opportunities forward for invasive species remediation, some other things that were mentioned, signage, benches, tree plantings in the meadow and weeding. So thank you to the community members who had done that. I think as far as tonight's concerned, do you want to talk a little bit about that? Do you want me to?
Well, why don't you start?
All right, I'll start. You chime in.
And then I'm never lost for words.
So tonight what we have in front of you, we have a map of the Arboretum. And that is the blue area. So if you look at the map in front of you, you'll have the blue dashed area kind of all around the Arboretum. It blends in with the red. The DPW is, you know, down at the bottom center. And our thoughts today were to obtain opinions from the public as to what your thoughts may be on this property, based on your understanding of it, based on feedback that you might have seen, you know, from others, and just explore ideas as to how we can move forward to offer support for the project in general. Basically, what do we do with the park?
And, you know, to date, I mean, I already mentioned some of those projects. I mean, the map in front of you shows what currently exists right now, based on all the projects that we just mentioned. You know, is that enough? Do we want to do a little more? Do we want to say, you know, how do we make that balance between Arboretum and a wildlife sanctuary? What does that look like when we use that term? I think those are things that really, we're hoping that you want to discuss and kind of think about that balance, because 10 acres seems like a lot of land, but in terms of what the mission is of this Arboretum and wildlife sanctuary, a lot in one space that isn't as big as you think, especially when you're dealing with habitats. So I want you to just hopefully keep that in mind as well as we sort of move forward. We don't need any big grand ideas, but just some ways of maybe how do we get to some next steps and what those possibly could be.
Yeah.
You know, nothing more than that, and, you know, no pressure.
Right.
So,
I did make a mistake, by
Yeah.
the way. This map is not an outline specifically of the Arboretum, but rather of the land and specific areas that you may recognize when you walk through there. So don't look for a Arboretum perimeter, for example. It's not on this map.
yeah, it shows like the vernal, you can see.
Yeah.
You know, you guys all walk the Arboretum, you all know
Yeah.
what's in there, so. So anyway, with that being said, if, you know, there's just a couple of points, we wanted to keep it very free form. You know, what do you think is sort of more of a short-term kind of thing we should be looking at this coming year, maybe the next couple of years? But what do you think the Arboretum could look like or be in 5, 10, you know, that kind of thing? Really much more, sort of a free-form discussion. And you have tablets on each table and markers. And you each open up your tablets. And we'd like you to just write down some of your ideas, do some brainstorming for us. And what we'll do at the end of the session, and how much time do we have for these sessions right now?
Say at least a half an hour.
Yeah, why don't we say half an hour? We'll do 10-minute call outs. And we'll say it's half an hour. And if you have one person do the recording, okay, on the tablet, and then pick somebody from your group to do just the presentation of the ideas at the end to us as a group, you know. Pretty straightforward stuff. I know a lot of us have done closest things before.
I think if we're ordering, it might be nice if we have sort of short-term and long-term opportunities. and possibly, use consideration.
That's true.
Because we have people online.
Okay.
And I think we're gonna have a fourth member at the table. And if we want to break into a fourth table, we can. If I have a couple board members, we'll walk through it.
Okay, we also have, we're zooming right now. We also have some people online and, I would say we're willing to take some comments online as well. Just if people couldn't just simply physically be here. But the gate is
I'll try it now. Thank you.
I'm gonna, I don't know, it's gonna be like.
Oh, yeah.
Do we have the pen?
I didn't know.
Someone stole my pen.
Oh.
I have a pen.
I read the report. So the board said, yes, and he gave a public presentation to the board. And then in
No, this is my pen, but I was gonna let anyone use it. I'll be on the lookout for it. I'm gonna, quick because the video just went out, so let me just check it.
This is where we were at the 15-minute.
Yeah, we are.
I'll call it out.
Okay.
And then we're gonna. You know, to agree with them as is, or and you would have. Yeah. Well, you're right. We're gonna do that. Oh, they. A little bit. So it keeps them. Someone has been giving them a run.
Like a situation where someone. They would have like, you know, parties.
All that video is really.
But, you know,
Oh, thank you. So it's just a curious.
Is the video's glitching, so we're gonna keep the sound on since we only have 10 minutes left.
Turn it
Huh?
down.
It's actually not,
Okay.
yeah, it's not picking up a lot of chatter, yeah. But, there's still people online, yeah,
Probably waiting to see what the other.
yeah.
Let me know when we have 5 minutes.
Okay, will do, you're welcome.
Benches.
I'm gonna bring up something.
Because of his. In here, there's a big room about weeds.
They want to turn it into like fences and, you know, all over. And if I was trying, just try to help out when all kinds of things, and then maybe that people, you know, actually it's sort of they are more. Some of these, but like, right. We thought they would have come very well.
Yes, they do. They requested this. Oh, I don't. Yeah. No, but that's what you know. Now I can. Someone else. Wow.
So I used to. I got it for a time. Okay, here's one. Now, how do we have a special on the top? Wonderful, they had a dog there.
And wait, running up there. And then I have to be quiet.
Trying to make it start. And, don't be big off.
No, you're talking about,
I don't wanna. I'm okay, it's free to move for.
they love running here.
What is it?
There's a little, so we might have.
Can always power. Here, bring a strip, but I don't know how to do it.
What did you need? I'm sorry.
The white strip, I thought she brought it, but it was wrong.
You know, it's so interesting. We are trying to get a path all the way along here. So they don't walk through here, just a path. And then you can. The floor keeps.
Like, give us a dog ball.
I didn't bring my stop talking thing, so I'm just gonna write them. Write a little. For everyone gets even amount of time to present.
5 minutes, because it's.
Okay, all right.
You have 5 to wrap it up?
You want to? Here it is. Yeah, so what I'm doing is I'm doing like.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we would like to have people bring this tablet up and put it up here. And if there's a.
Okay,
Do you think we could do that?
let me see where.
Oh, maybe we just do it at the table. Let's just do it at the table.
Yeah. It's like, I don't
Yeah, we're gonna
Well, anyway, that's.
4 minutes, please pick someone from first to do the presentation.
Wireless, and tires and a lot of.
Yeah, yes, exactly. And then, how about a fairy garden? Fairy garden.
That's so cute.
Instead of.
But you go.
The women. Yeah, and so it's kind of like.
I don't know. About that. Go up, like, I don't know how.
But it did.
I don't know.
Now.
Use the most. You know what, maybe It's fully charged, cool.
You know I had a cakewalk, right? Thank you.
Okay.
I needed to charge this.
All right.
No, it's our new one.
Okay.
New one.
All right.
If you just want to keep an eye if people raise their hand, like make sure the camera's on that.
Would it be easier to start with this group? Is the camera facing this way?
I can bring the camera over there.
Oh, okay. Up close and personal. Maybe we can return the. Presentation.
Got it.
Okay. We're gonna ask you to turn this a little bit towards the camera, so people zooming in could see this
That was clean yours.
as well.
I know it's
Okay.
for some reason. I think it's. I think it looks good. It's still kind of hard to read, but I think John will help us out, right?
Yeah. Okay. Group number one.
Yay, group number one. Here we are. So group number one is made up of, 2 Fountain residents. Three Fountain residents. We have somebody from Wood Creek, and we have a town resident who's joining us. And we,
65 State Street.
and we have, that's right, uptown State Street resident. And we came up with some really great, ideas. So John's gonna take it away for us.
Sure. I'll just run through the list here. First one we have is some additional educational info signage explaining the vernal ponds. The, environmental value, but also maybe something about the, the process that, how they got here, the work that went into it. Sorry.
There's the website is a private website for the vernal pond.
Oh, okay, yeah, so some of that information about the ponds is posted on Marlowe's Frog House website right now, but
We also have an Eagle Scout
was
doing signs. Eagle
Talk about
Scout.
the website.
Oh, but
in terms of like online information.
Oh, you mean online?
Arthur-
Okay.
yeah, Arthur
Yep,
wasn't
gotcha.
sure,
Okay,
what's on the village website.
Gotcha.
Something to look into there.
From broad time to our village website.
mhm. Gotta go on the sustainability page. We switched over to a new website.
Great.
Okay, keep going, I'm sorry.
No, you're good. Another one we talked about was adding a trail to get from the Arboretum area, Vernal Ponds area, directly to the canal path without cutting through DPW or, I guess that's maybe the only option, DPW and parking lots.
Or the Del Monte.
Or the Del Monte.
Del Monte is beautiful. Parking lot is great. Definitely see it hard.
Sorry. So this is, I'm gonna skip ahead and then come back just because it's more related to what we were just talking about. Also potential of adding an overlook. We have that kind of high position on the hill there, so maybe clearing some trees or something so we can get a view out of that high position. And then the one I skipped here, just going back to in terms of the information that's available online for people, some mapping with maybe a satellite view overlay, some so more
Yeah.
easily identify where you are versus, just the survey map kind of style that doesn't have a lot of context.
what were we saying here? Donation opportunity.
So a lot of residents
Oh,
have native plants.
Yep, so talking about how there's folks around who have native plants, you know, more than they need and having some kind of area opportunity where people can bring their plants and plant them and add to the inventory that we have there. And QR codes on, back to educational
yeah,
information.
that's a
QR
good one.
codes on the side. A couple more we have, repurposing, wondering if there's potential to repurpose the DPW kind of material storage area back behind their buildings there. Justin knows more about it than I do, but saying that
I thought we'd use the town for that. Use their materials yard instead of having our own separate one. We do fund the town DPW. Village does with our taxes, so I'm not sure why village can't just ask, hey, we need some gravel, and they assist with that. So that was a thought.
reclaim that space for. Another one that came up is dog park. Perhaps, as I said, perhaps controversial in this area, but somewhere in the village, there's maybe some value in the dog park, and so there's a room here, yeah. So on it's called the Hillside Trail, the trail that comes off of the Auburn Trail. So it needs some cleanup there. It's just kind of junk, you know, in that little creek bed there and along the hillside. So we need some cleanup there. Possibly a fairy garden area for kids.
Within the spruce area, spruce planting.
Okay, fairy garden inside the spruce area. And then also potentially community garden space, similar to that space where people can bring their native plants and get them in the ground, but yeah. similar.
Lots of ideas.
Talking about.
Or like fruits and
Well,
vegetables.
yeah, for sure.
Vegetables.
Yes, you know, similar application.
Lots of
same.
ideas. Wow, great. Well, thank you. Thank you. Wow. Okay. We have. Moving
Yeah,
over
we'll leave it right on there.
Number 2, please. Oh, look out.
All right, yeah, short term and long term, short term, more planting. Like to see, continuous trees being planted every year, certain numbers, since the old ones are gonna die off and new. Following the corridor, signage, we need signage, people don't know where they're going. More people would go if they knew where they were supposed to go. Signage from the canal, interpretive, possibly with information, water told, you don't know.
Trail maintenance.
Trail maintenance and cleanup on a regular basis, obviously more invasive, control, continue that. And there's so many invasives, not just the tree habit, there's all kinds of like swallowwort, praying mantis. Have a master plan, you really need a master plan, because everybody wants to do their own thing in there, but if we don't know what the whole thing looks like, it's kind of hard to keep adding things. A web page, you guys said that as well, with the map, so people could actually go online, look where they're going. I can't tell you how many times I'm walking my dog in there, somebody asks me every single time, where does this go? Where does this go? Where's the Auburn line? People just don't know. So that's short-term, long-term planning maintenance. Connect to the canal rail, limited structures.
What does that mean? Yeah.
Let's not build a whole bunch of stuff. in
Oh,
there.
okay.
No big tower on top of the
Right,
hill.
right.
Okay, so no condo complex.
Right. Open up so we have a pond view at some point. It would be nice to have a pond view.
Is that the same as what your group came up with?
Like the overlook, the overlook
Or something.
No,
Yes,
that's the view of the pond. We talked about overlook.
Okay.
in the village.
Went up high, went down low.
But we also talked about the overlook of the wetlands down below,
Okay.
under the power
Okay.
line.
Thank you for clarification.
Eliminate, control invasives, long-term, continue to do that. Keep it natural, not so it looks like we made this thing out of the forest. Keep it natural. And benches, have some kind of bench plan. We had, places where we think benches should go, but it would be nice if people could maybe, dedicate a bench and donate the money to pay for it, but we don't want 50 benches. So have a specific on a master plan, these are the areas where we'll have benches, maybe have some stadium seating or, you know, like some kind of circular seating where groups could maybe go and have lectures or something, I don't know.
There's a frog bench that's sitting outside the art gallery there.
Yeah, well, and there's, you have 2 other benches that the churches go
Yeah.
in.
Right.
And fairy trail and poop bags for people who have dogs. and
Excellent.
Are not. So it's about breeding bags on it. Yeah, yeah. I think that's it.
That's great. That's so many good ideas.
Those fairies are making out, huh?
I know, the fairies are.
They're all gonna wear little black bows in there.
Here, let me move this chair off.
These-
Group 3.
These 3 young ladies insisted that I earn my pay as a trustee of the presentation, so. First thing we came up with, more native, less invasive, but you gotta temper that, we need a plan for the planting, and we should probably coordinate that with the arborist and the friends. So that we're doing it in a logical sequence. More recreation, make it, more available, make it easier to, navigate. And the question came up, in order to do that, do we need more paths? And again, it's rhetorical. More education, and that's kind of tied in, with the tree ID plaques.
Yeah.
With potential QR codes for those, so that people can really see what's going on. And again, with the education, we were thinking about, you know, we've got benches, you know, donating benches. But just creating a little mini amphitheater, so that they have a school group or somebody in there that
And art lessons.
something, you know, to that effect, so. We gotta refine the map, you know, just as we get things. You know, have a template for it so that we can add things and continue to make it better for everybody, and on the website, that would be wonderful. Talked about donating benches. But again, we've got to plan the location so we just don't flood it with benches. Removing the gravel, that was, I think everybody mentioned that. And, we had a little bit of discussion about promoting versus leveraging the Arboretum. It just gives it a little friendlier feel to it.
Can you explain those terms, how you mean it?
What's, well,
Promoting versus leveraging.
if you're leveraging something, you're trying to get some advantage off of it. As promoting it, you know, trying to identify it as an educational resource, as a recreational resource, as opposed to trying to get something out of it, you know, in a leveraging situation.
You mean like the village would get X number of dollars
Oh,
from
no,
people
it's
walking
just
through?
the way it was,
It's Whole Foods?
The question on the language on.
Oh, that, okay, great, thanks. I didn't read it. Obviously.
ladies, did I leave anything out?
No, well
Okay.
done.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Well,
Well,
great
great idea. Great ideas, wow. So what's gonna happen next? Gonna come back to the board, and thank you, everybody. I think, you know, what's interesting is sort of the consistency too. Amongst the groups of some of these ideas, you know, the signage, wayfinding, you know, how can people get around more easily, you know, obviously the invasives over and over again. You know, things like that. So I think, you know, we have a bit to digest. I would love to do an informal site plan work with everybody again. So we say this is, you know, again, a starting point here. And what do we want it to really look like? And also, from the board standpoint, what is the financial commitment that we would make, you know, to make that happen from this thing. So I guess with that being said, Dave, is there anything else you'd like to add?
No, I think, you know, this information is great, and the support from the community and for those, that try to come to bear, will. Not only that, something to say, basically, you know, take all this information back, have a workshop, talk about what our next steps are, but I think. The goal, at least what I would love to do, put something together, pen to paper between us. And then bring it back to the community with an on-site visit and say, here's what we're thinking sort of within these various areas, what we can do now. think about the short term, and then what we might think about as a long. And then what maybe we rule out, and what we may consider, we may know that.
Yeah, I think that's, measured approach, as they say. I also want to, Margot, touch base again with, the, Tom David Hauser, who, the wetland expert who helped with the Vernal Pond project. So we make sure that we are, appropriately doing installations that would not affect any of the little creatures hatching there and how they're going to be living within this parcel as well. So, just things like that.
We're corresponding with them regularly.
Great,
So-
yeah, I'm gonna be
Which is-
reaching out to
yeah,
him.
Great.
And I also think I'm gonna circle back with the Sonic Zoo Society as well. They did this incredible, it's an ongoing project in Madagascar. They have just done this incredible habitat reestablishment work. That's something that's been ongoing for them. I mean, they're all over the world. But also to get some feedback from them about the impact of some of the things that we want to do on the existing wildlife in the area. I mean, because we have foxhounds there, we have eagles there, all kinds of wetland creatures. Just so we're kind of not stomping on their territories and human beings, we want to be respectful. So that is that. Now, one last quick thing, I want to talk about goats. Did you see some of the literature that was there about goat raising? We're looking into this, and there's actually some farms that are sort of within our region that do the goat grazing, and goat grazing is actually just, Penn, you were saying this earlier, John, just penning the goats in certain areas where there's a lot of invasive species. Goats will eat a lot of strange things, and they're just sort of herded along, and they can eat up a whole bunch of different types of invasive species without us using chemicals. Because we are close to wetlands and we have the vernal ponds, so we really want to be very aware of what we're doing. So that's why we just wanted to share this with you. We were sort of early days, but we're reaching out to goats. I know. Goats, so cute, yeah.
Was the thought just bring them in for a few days or to actually leave a more permanent pen somewhere?
No, there wouldn't be anything permanent. What the way it works is, you hire the goat herd, and they bring in the fence, and there's a goat herder who oversees the goats. And they will take a look at what area we want to clear. And frankly, we should do it in quadrants anyway. To say we're gonna take out all these invasives, then, oh my gosh, now we have to plant like a million things. So we have to really be very deliberate about it. And it probably would be in stages, rolled out. We bring the goats back, then we plant, then they leave, they come back, that kind of thing. So that obviously the people in the goat business of doing this, they know what they're doing, so.
Did they eat native plants too? Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah, we don't eat anything.
But
So you have
they
to go
don't
to the
serve
area.
their-
supervised.
Yes, oh
Poison
yeah,
ivy.
yeah. They'll eat poison ivy.
Yeah, and also,
Hang on one second, one person at a time. Margot, and then you just.
there's a sign that says, chemical treatment by Davy, what was that? I
That was the
surprised.
removal of the ailanthus.
Okay.
Very
All right.
site specific,
The,
very tree specific,
the
yeah.
injections,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah,
Do we know if goats, like sheep, dig out the whole plant or just graze off the top?
I'm
Because
not a goat
I
expert.
mean,
I just love
It
it.
would just sort of, if they just sort of graze off the top, it's not gonna do much.
Understood.
It will make them grow more, right?
But what we can do then is suppression.
Yeah.
Yes,
Cause
again, the removal of invasives isn't just cutting off the top, we all know that. It's the suppression, we had the solarization project in part of the Arboretum. There's other ways to do it, it's not the one and done, it's multifactorial.
And they would need to be closely supervised. Goats can be very aggressive about getting out.
Mhm.
I actually spent the summer with a goat.
And that's what you have to go through.
And had built my whole life.
Go wrangler.
That would bring a lot of residents in the Arboretum.
That'd be so much
Oh,
fun.
I think
With
that's gonna be a
kids love
blast.
it.
Yes.
No, it'd be so much fun. No, they don't
Even
even,
if it's just the meadow mow.
it's not, but
The meadow mowing would be great.
Yeah, there we go.
Come down and see the goats.
Plus you get fertilizer.
Right?
Yeah. Yes,
Fertilizer.
exactly.
All right, anything else to cover real quick?
No,
We're good?
yeah, I think we're good.
I know, everybody's had a long day
Yeah,
too.
no, this is great.
Well, thank you so
I'm
much,
sorry,
everybody.
online, is online
Oh,
gonna
we
get a
have
chance
online
to speak?
comments. Just hang on one second. If we do have some comments. Thank you for that. Thanks for reminding me.
You're welcome.
I was thinking about the goats.
Um,
Any questions?
I have a comment. If I could make one. Can you hear me?
Yeah, sure.
we could hear you.
Robert Corby, 7 Washington Avenue. First of all, I want to thank the village board for hosting this event. I'm sorry I was out of town, scheduled to be out of town tonight, so I'm sorry I couldn't be there. I thought all of the suggestions tonight were terrific, and I have one more to add to the list of what was already discussed. One of the challenges there is the area underneath the Argini right-of-way that straddles the boundary between the Erie Canal Preserve and the Arboretum. And last year, that area, due to the slash and drop policy of Argini, it sprouted up into poison hemlock, which, again, thank you to the village for responding quickly and eradicating that. But I think one important long-term step for both the Erie Canal Preserve and the Arboretum would be to manage that corridor. And we've talked about, designating an area of the Arboretum for a pollinator meadow like they have over at the Tinker Nature Park. That would be the perfect area to do it. It may require grading in some places, and there's some ailanthus stumps that probably need to be removed. But over the long term, that would be a perfect opportunity to deal with that area under the lines and prevent the periodical introduction of invasive species that happens every time Argini comes through there with their equipment. So I wanted to make that suggestion.
Thank you so much, Bob. And you know what, it reminds me, because that was a conversation that actually I had with Tom Biebenhauser about that becoming a pollinator meadow, because we know Argini, it's their land, their right away. They're gonna keep coming through at some point and just cutting it down again and again. So if it's a meadow, it can reestablish quickly. He also made a mention that with the vernal ponds, once all of the little creatures hatch, they have to find a little habitat, a place to live. And they look for meadowlands as well, a number of these creatures. So maybe kind of a little bit of a win-win, even though Argini kind of comes through and hacks it up.
And I think that
periodically.
makes it an overlook to the Erie Canal Nature Preserve, right? I mean, I think that area.
There you go.
Looks over, so it'd be a
Look
nice
at all sorts
overlook.
of stuff, aren't we? I know.
Did you show us on the map where this property, the Argini property is?
Yeah. So it's roughly
It's
yeah.
roughly straight line.
Yeah, it's roughly here. And, they come through, they hadn't come through in a long time, actually. And then all of a sudden, DPW said, wow, they just showed up. They did say they're gonna be doing this on a more regular basis, and which probably means every 3 years for them, which would just be cutting it back. So it's the property. Any other comments online? Anything else?
I just did a last call. I don't see any more
Okay.
hands.
Okay.
Before we close, could I just ask Dorothea if you could put this on our next workshop? To bring this
Yeah,
back. to
yeah.
discussion.
Well, all the ideas are sort of fresh,
Yeah.
That's a great idea.
Okay.
Great. Well, thank you so much again, everybody.
Can we have a
Motion to adjourn?
trustee Wilkes?
Aye.
Trustee Marshall?
Aye.
Trustee Limbeck?
Aye.
Trustee Coe?
Hi.
Mayor Plummer? Motion passes.
Okay.
Adjourned.
That's a really good news. I just want to, because I was. We wrote to,